She thought her trials were over. She thought love had finally found her. But under the Lagos sunset, a single moment shattered everything. A proposal that should have been the start of forever became a public betrayal. Her past returned, his trust crumbled, and the world watched their love fall apart. In part 2, secrets will burn, love will be tested, and a mother's second chance could be her last.
The days after the call were quiet. Amara didn't open her stall. Teniola didn't show up at his office. Lagos moved as usual. Keki horns blaring, sellers shouting, life roaring. But their worlds had paused. Amara sat on her aunt's old plastic chair, staring at the letter from her mother again. The words had comforted her at first. Now they confused her. Why would Madame Ifeoma pretend? Why did her son come as a stranger? Was this love, or just another game? At the other end of the city, Teniola stood at the balcony of his apartment, watching the clouds. He hadn't touched his phone in 2 days. He wanted to reach out, but he also knew he didn't deserve to. He had tested Amara over and over again, trying to prove she was like Cynthia, like all the others, but all she had ever shown was truth, humility, grace, and now she was gone. The silence between them was no longer peaceful, it was punishment. It was Mama Nkechi, Amara's aunt, who finally broke the tension. She showed up at Madame Ifeoma's gate uninvited, wearing her Sunday best, eyes sharp and voice sharper. "You rich people like drama too much," she said bluntly as she entered the living room. Ifeoma blinked, surprised. "Mama Nkechi?" "Yes," she said. "You brought her into this with good intentions, I believe. But your son has bruised her heart, and I came here to say it plainly." Ifeoma sat down. She has every right to be angry. Nkechi folded her arms. "Then fix it. And don't fix it with money or fake apologies. Fix it with action." She paused, then added softly, "Grace would have wanted this. Her daughter doesn't need pity. She needs partnership, someone who will stand beside her, not above her." Ifeoma nodded. "Thank you for not shutting the door on us." Nkechi gave a small, sad smile. "I didn't come to open doors. I came to remind you what's behind them." Teniola didn't expect the knock. When he opened the door and saw Amara standing there, soaked from the drizzle and wearing a plain green wrapper, his heart almost stopped. "Can I come in?" she asked. He stepped aside, wordless. She walked in slowly, eyes scanning his clean, modern apartment like it was a different planet. "So this is who you really are," she said, finally turning to face him.
I didn't lie. I just didn't tell you everything.
She looked at him.
"And you tested me. Every day. Every moment."
He nodded.
I needed to know you weren't like...
He stopped himself. "Like her?"
Amara finished.
"Like your ex?"
His silence was confirmation.
"So I passed your tests, but you failed mine, because all I ever needed was someone who saw me, not someone who watched me like a suspect." He reached for her hand. She pulled away. "Don't touch me unless you're ready to trust me with both your heart and your scars." They sat on opposite ends of the couch. The distance felt like continents. Teniola finally spoke.
I didn't plan to fall for you, Amara, but I did. And that scared me. I kept thinking you'd turn out to be another Cynthia. And I hated myself for even feeling anything again.
She stared at him, quiet. Then why didn't you leave me alone?
Because you were first person who made me feel normal again. Not rich, not powerful, just human.
Amara wiped her eyes. I believed you were different too. I let you into my world. I showed you my wounds. And you made them bleed again. Not with lies, but with doubt. He stood.
I want to fix this.
Can you? She asked. He didn't answer, because he wasn't sure. She walked to the door and paused. If you want me, don't call, don't text, show up. But this time, don't come as the man testing a woman. Come as the man choosing her. And with that, she left. The next day, Amara reopened her stall. She didn't expect much, but when she arrived, there was something strange. The stall had been cleaned, repainted, and stocked with fresh ingredients. New chairs were stacked nearby, and in the middle of it all was a note in neat handwriting.
I failed you when I should have trusted you. Let me rebuild what I almost broke, starting with this stall and then your heart. T.
Her heart thudded. She looked around, half angry, half moved. She didn't want gifts. She wanted change. Still, she touched the corner of the table, freshly scrubbed, and closed her eyes. Maybe, just maybe, this was the beginning of something new, or the next test. News spreads fast in Lagos, especially when a wealthy bachelor is seen frequenting a buka in Ajagunle. It wasn't long before Teniola's business partners, social circles, and even shareholders began whispering. Is he bewitched? One scoffed at a brunch in Lekki Phase 1. A roadside cook. With all the society girls he could have, another laughed. Maybe she's pregnant already. You know, these girls are strategic. Madame Ifeoma heard the rumors too. At first, she ignored them, until one of her oldest friends confronted her over dinner. Ifeoma, your son is destroying his image. What if she's just using this to climb out of poverty? Ifeoma stared into her wineglass, conflicted. I thought like you once, she said quietly, until I saw her feed a child without asking for anything in return, until I remembered her mother served us with more dignity than most CEOs. The table fell silent, because sometimes truth is louder than wealth. Teniola didn't just send flowers. He came in person, jeans rolled up, apron tied, sleeves rolled, to help Amara serve food on a busy Friday. The street buzzed with disbelief. The tech mogul, sweating in front of a coal pot? Girls stared, phones out. Omo, na Tenitech CEO be this? Someone whispered. He ignored the cameras. Amara did not. What are you doing here? She hissed behind the pot.
Proving that I don't care what they think, only what you think.
You'll ruin your name.
Then let it burn.
She stared at him. This won't fix what you broke. He nodded.
I know, but I'm not here to fix it in a day. I'm here to earn a lifetime.
Later, as they packed up, a small girl walked up to Amara. Auntie, is this your husband? Teniola smiled. Amara didn't answer, but her silence wasn't rejection. It was hesitation wrapped in hope. That evening, Teniola got a call from his board of directors. We're worried, his CFO said flatly. You're becoming tabloid fodder. Investors are spooked. You either go back to image management or we vote on a new interim CEO. He hung up without responding. Then Cynthia called. Yes, he said coldly. Still pretending? She hissed. You think playing market boy makes you deep? When she leaves, you don't come crying. He laughed.
You think I'm the same man you lied to? I'd rather be broke with Amara than rich with someone like you.
He ended the call, but his hands shook after, because no matter how far he ran from the past, it always seemed to follow with new shoes. A week later, tragedy struck. A fire started in the back shed behind Amara's stall. Some boys had thrown a lit match too close to spilled kerosene. Flames engulfed the back corner and chaos erupted. Amara screamed as the fire threatened her pots, tables, and supplies. People tried to help. But it was Teniola who arrived first, driving in like a madman, ripping off his jacket, using it to beat flames. They managed to stop the fire before it destroyed the store completely, but the damage was heavy. That night, Amara sat on the steps of her compound, head in her hands. Teniola sat beside her, his arms scraped and burnt.
I don't know if I can do this anymore, she whispered. Every time something good enters my life, something comes to destroy it.
He looked at her, bruised but soft.
Then let me help you fight for it.
She looked at him.
What if it burns again?
Then we rebuild again.
He said.
Until it stands on stone, not sand.
A week after the fire, Teniola asked Amara to meet him at the lagoon side. Quiet, breezy, and beautiful. He brought jollof rice, her recipe, his cooking. She laughed at the salt.
It's edible, she teased.
Barely.
He smiled nervously. Then he pulled a small box from his pocket.
I don't want to waste more time pretending I'm not terrified, he said. But I love you, and I want to fight for you, with you, for the rest of our lives.
He opened the box. The ring shimmered in the sunset. But before she could answer, a sharp voice interrupted. What is the meaning of this? They turned to see Cynthia, standing beside two photographers. Click, click, flash. Smile, she hissed. The whole world's watching. By 6 a.m. the next morning, the photos were viral. Billionaire Teniola proposes to roadside cook, ex-fiancé reacts. Love or PR stunt? Lagos elite react to shocking proposal. Blogs had a field day. Instagram gossip pages exploded. Twitter was a war zone. Some praised him. Finally, a man who loves with sense, not status. Others mocked her. Another Ajegunle Cinderella. Not today? And worse. Business media chimed in. Tenitech's stock dipped 4% before noon. The board called an emergency meeting. He ignored it. Amara, however, couldn't ignore the world. She sat in Nabuka, scrolling through comments until her fingers trembled. Gold digger. She cast jazz. He must be under spiritual manipulation. Her aunt tried to take the phone. Don't let them touch your mind, she pleaded. But Amara's spirit had already cracked. Because it wasn't just trolls now. It was a war against her worth. Amara disappeared the next day. She left a note for her aunt. I need space. Don't worry, I'm safe. I just can't breathe right now. Teniola searched everywhere. Ajegunle, hospitals, even her old suppliers. Nothing. The guilt nearly broke him. Madame Ifeoma tried to help, but even she knew this pain was different. This isn't about love anymore, she told her son. It's about identity. The whole world stripped her down, and you stood there, silent.
I froze.
Teniola admitted.
I didn't know how to protect her.
His mother replied. Then maybe you need to start by protecting the truth. 3 days after Amara vanished, Teniola called a press conference. The room was packed with cameras, journalists, and critics. He walked in. No PR team, no stylist, just himself. He stepped to the mic and said,
My name is Teniola Ifeanyi, and yes, I propose to a woman who sells food by the roadside. And yes, I love her. Not because I pity her, not because of PR, but because she's the most honest person I've ever met. I didn't tell her who I was at first because I was broken. I had been lied to before, so I lied in return. I tested her, and she passed every test. But she should have never had to. I failed her. I failed the love I found. And if she never comes back, then let this video be the only record that someone like her walked into my life and made me better. You don't have to believe in her, but I do.
He walked off. Social media exploded, this time differently. Suddenly, people weren't mocking, they were rooting. Amara was in a quiet town near Ibadan, staying with an old friend of her mother's. No phones, no internet, just space. Every morning she woke up before the sun and sat by a small river, her mother's old scarf wrapped around her shoulders. One morning her friend came running. "He did it," she said breathlessly. "He told the whole world the truth. He didn't defend himself, he defended you." Amara watched the video that afternoon. Her hands trembled. Her heart broke open again. Not from pain, but from the realization that Teniola hadn't just fallen in love, he had fought for it. She stood by the river for a long time, then whispered, "Maybe, just maybe, I can come back." The Bukhar reopened 5 days later, no announcement, no grand welcome, just the smell of jollof and fried plantain wafting down the street like old music returning home. People lined up, pretending not to stare. And then, Teniola walked up. He was dressed simply again, no fanfare. She looked at him.
"You came back,"
He said. "I never really left," she replied. "I just needed to remember who I was, before the world told me otherwise." He nodded.
"I still have the ring, but this time, I won't ask until you're sure."
She looked at him, then at the pot of rice steaming beside them. "Then let's start again. Not from the heartache, from the hello." Teniola became a quiet fixture at the Bukhar, not as a guest, not even as a lover, just a helper. He washed plates, chopped onions, and sometimes served food. The camera phones still came around, but the frenzy was dying down. And with every passing day, Amara began to smile more, not because everything was perfect, but because he was finally walking beside her, not ahead of her. One evening, she found a small journal on her table. Inside were handwritten notes, reflections, prayers, memories, all from Teniola. One entry read,
"You told me to show up without a mask. This is me, flawed, afraid, but learning. Not because I want to win you, but because I want to deserve you."
She closed the book, tears glistening in her eyes. Slowly, the walls inside her began to crumble, not from pressure, but from trust. Madame Ifeoma finally visited the Bukhar without any disguise. Dressed in a simple kaftan, she arrived with no driver, no bag, just herself. Amara saw her and walked over. There was a pause, then both women embraced without a word. People watched, stunned. It was a silent handshake across generations, Grace's daughter, and the woman who once failed to protect her. Inside, Ifeoma helped serve food for an hour before sitting down. "Your mother would be proud," she said gently, "of your courage, your dignity." Amara nodded. "I feel her sometimes. When I'm tired, when I almost give up, she whispers strength into my spirit." Ifeoma reached into her bag and pulled out a brown envelope. "She left this. I only found it recently." Inside was a photo. Baby Amara, wrapped in cloth, sleeping in Grace's lap. On the back were 5 words, "Let her grow with love." Amara clutched the photo to her chest, and for the first time in years, She cried not from pain, but peace. Weeks later, on a Sunday evening, with the buka closed early, Teniola took Amara to the same lagoon side where he once proposed, and failed. This time, there were no cameras, no interruptions, just the gentle lap of water and the smell of akara from a nearby vendor. He didn't kneel. He simply held her hands and said,
I still have the ring. But more importantly, I've built a life where you don't have to be tested, only trusted. I want you beside me. Not in my shadow, not as a secret, as my equal.
She smiled. Then asked me again, the right way. He took a deep breath.
Amara Grace Okonkwo, will you marry me? Not because of the past, not because of pity, but because we've walked through fire and we're still standing.
She looked at him, this once broken man, now whole, and she said, yes. This time, there were no flashes, just fireworks inside their hearts. Preparations began quickly. A modest but beautiful engagement party was planned, combining both cultures, Teniola's Yoruba roots and Amara's Igbo heritage. It was elegant yet grounded. Guests were surprised at how deeply the two families had blended. But during the final family meeting, an unexpected envelope arrived, delivered by a lawyer who had been tracking Amara for years. Inside, a will. From a wealthy woman in the East, Grace's former madam before she came to Lagos. It revealed something shocking. Grace had once helped raise her madam's child, and in return, was left a plot of land and a trust fund, both in Amara's name. The only condition was that Amara must be found before her 25th birthday. She was now 24 years and 10 months. Everyone stared in disbelief. Teniola turned to her.
So you were a secret heiress all along?
He joked. Amara shook her head. No. Their wedding was held in a community center, intentionally simple, but overflowing with people from both worlds. The Buka women brought pots of pepper soup. Teniola's investors awkwardly wore asoebi. Laughter, jollof, and joy filled the air. As Amara walked down the aisle, her aunt held her hand. Your mother would be dancing in heaven, she whispered. Teniola, watching her approach, fought back tears, and when they exchanged vows, they didn't recite rehearsed lines. Teniola said,
I choose you, without tests, without fear, without masks.
Amara replied,
And I choose you, not because you saved me, but because we both saved each other.
Applause erupted, but more than that, hearts everywhere watching would never forget them.